States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a roll call, please?
Hannah,
Yes.
Callahan. Rodriguez.
Here.
Hill,
Here.
Scharf,
Here.
Kurtz.
Here.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Moved.
Second.
I do have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Any public on the Wing Central at all? Nothing?
I don't think I have anybody here. No?
Okay. Then I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the October 11th, 2021 regular meeting.
So moved. Second.
I do have a motion and acceptance. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next, I need a motion to approve the claims for payment.
So moved.
Second.
I do have a motion and a second to approve claims for payment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next item is the budgeted and monthly transfers for your information. If there's any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on. That you also have revenues and expenses to date for your information. Hearing no comments, we'll move on to Lisa Kramer, the Director of Buchanan County Economic Development, to catch us up to date. Thank you, Lisa.
Nice seeing you all again. I just wanted to give just really a brief overview of what we've been working on, and several of these projects we've actually been working on with the City of Independence, so you're well aware of them, but just an overview. Before I start with that, I did want to, the Rural Return Grant guidelines I handed out, it's really a neat program, and it rewards creativity. It's a grant program that they just put out this year. If you come up with a really unique or different idea that you think will bring people back to your community, just a simple idea that can maybe be replicated, they'll give you grant money to make it happen. So just some people are doing maybe a slight tuition reimbursement if you end up moving to your community. Or it's as simple as some people with a river or along the Mississippi Turkey River, the Wapsipinicon River, you move to your community or to their community, they'll buy you a kayak. You know, just simple little things like that. But that can be replicated. So just to help put our thinking caps on and see if we can come up for something within our communities or within our county to apply for that grant. So the labor shed study should be coming out this month. They have a few more days to get it out. They haven't gotten it out yet. But every 2 years, we update our labor shed study. And what that does is it provides information as to the number of people coming into our county to work, the number of people leaving our county to work, the number of employees throughout a certain region around our county that is available for employment in all the different sectors of business, industry, that type of thing. So workforce housing was a project that we worked on together, and unfortunately we did not get it. We came very close to getting it. If I was told that if it wasn't such a focus on the infill, they did a lot of infill for different communities where they had existing buildings that they were renovating into housing. We very well may have been able to get it, but that kind of took away some of the funds that might have been available to us. Childcare is a big concern throughout the county, and we continue to work with people, industries, communities on that subject. We're part of the Cedar Valley Regional Partnership. It's a very great marketing tool for our area. as well as we provide the regional job board. That's to any business or industry within Buchanan County or city or county, or can list any available positions on that job board. And it goes out to all 5 counties. It's available on all of their websites, as well as on Live the Valley, our Cedar Valley Regional website. So it has a good extension of availability. One thing that we did as part of our Cedar Valley Regional Partnership as well is we did a labor and benefit study throughout the 6-county region, and we kind of kept this within our 6-county region, the results, to helpfully give a little bit of a leg up to our businesses and industries. And it was just kind of an overview with all the changes with COVID and coming out of COVID, kind of to say, okay, as an industry, are we kind of up to date with all of our other industries throughout the area? Do we maybe need to pick it up a little bit? Maybe we're above what we see other people doing. I think the industries that used it really appreciated that information. We continue to meet with our businesses and our industries as well, and keeping up to date with them and providing information to them. We have offered business workshops throughout the last year. We just had one marketing workshop this fall, and coming up next spring, we're working on putting workshops together for that as well, for our business industries and communities. We have 2 additional apprenticeship programs in Buchanan County. That would be in diesel mechanic and welding. That joins the CNC and the brake press operator apprenticeship that we have. Once we get those apprenticeships within the county, then any business or industry can kind of piggyback onto that and provide that type of service within their business. Industry 4.0, we keep picking up people that are interested in this grant program. The whole idea is moving our state, including our county and our community businesses, forward. Right, there are 2 grants now available with this. It was 75 and under. They were providing a grant for $50,000 for equipment and $25,000 for IT. They would go through a CIRRUS assessment, and then they could apply for that grant. And I know there are now 3 of our small industries in the county that are doing that. And then they just recently added a larger industry up to 250, so anywhere 76 to 250. And they have the opportunity to get up to $500,000 in a grant for that, for the equipment and IT. So I've made our larger industries aware of that opportunity. Website grant, we had that available through economic development itself. We made that available and had 2 businesses, 2 organizations, and 3 communities that took advantage of that. It's just to be able to help with coming out of COVID. We realized we have to have a presence on the web, and with that, we had one brand new website that's being developed for Brandon, and then a business brand new website. And then the rest of them were updated so that you could use it on your phone, whereas before you couldn't, that type of thing. We, grant access and writing assistance, we continue to keep that updated on our website, what the grants are out there, and we continue to work with whoever we can to, if assistance is needed, writing a grant. Some of the latest grants are the Industry 4.0. There's a meat locker assistant grant that I know some of our meat lockers within our county are applying for. So just some really different grants coming out that we can take advantage of. Tourism is a very integral part of economic development as well, and we work closely with Buchanan County Tourism. And I don't know if you have heard, you probably have, but tourism received a large gift of the Starlight Cinema as a gift to them. They hope to sell that that particular building and use the funds to help fund tourism and hire a full-time person to really advance the goals of Buchanan County and bringing people into our county through tourism. Downtown enhancement, you guys are very familiar with this. 2 CDBG facade grants received just recently, and also the Kings Hall grant that was received, the Catalyst grant. So that was a really great example of how working together with the city, with economic development, with the chamber, with the building owners, and with Intercog really was worth its time and effort. We're able, through all the work of all of us, we're able to make something happen in 4 months. It usually takes a year. So it was very impressive. And Independence really laid the groundwork to make that happen. So that was great on your part, on the city's part. Business and industry, you probably are also aware of this, the 100,000 square foot expansion by Priest Enterprises. They're going to be doubling their footprint, investing $40 million over the last 3 years in Independence and Buchanan County. So that's great to see. We're finishing up our leadership program. We have 12 participants from 6 different businesses. Jen happens to be one of our participants. And so we're excited about that. Our last program is tomorrow, and we had a great speaker the other day for our servant leadership program. That was very good. Staff, we have hired Molly Hawken as our part-time communications manager. She's working for both us and the Independence Area Chamber of Commerce. Because we were able to combine that position, we got someone Molly's caliber, and she's hit the ground running. She's doing an amazing job for us. And then upcoming events, October is our manufacturing month. If you noticed on our Facebook, part of Molly's job is she is getting our industry highlights out. So we're trying to highlight all of the industries within Buchanan County throughout this month of October. We're working with Cirrus and the state on an iWin program. And basically what that does is helps create a snapshot for employers, the current workforce and potential workforce, and identify those opportunities for our employers. It was a pilot program last year in Delaware County, so we're kind of jumping in early if we can to get that. And once again, we're doing workshops, planning some for next year. Are there any questions on some of the things that we are working on?
You're doing a very good job.
Oh,
Do
thank
you
you.
think about the Catalyst grant going, Harding Drug, has he started anything there, or?
We've been working with him, and I hope to see something next week. So,
I will say that I have a brief update. There is contractor and electrician under contract. The big thing right now is we're getting him started. We have some documentation that he's actually securing the labor to get it done. We're working on a new development agreement. That development agreement will come to you as soon as we finalize that, because clearly he missed his deadline on the first one. So we'll develop that. We'll work with Jim Thompson at the state. And again, that'll be coming to you shortly.
Al and Todd have been doing a really good job at working with Dom on this.
And then we were planning on putting on for that second grant for the facades tonight, but we didn't get the paperwork from the state yet. So
Oh,
we have to
shoot.
get their approval, and then without hopefully
Right.
be on the next council meeting too.
And another thing to keep in your minds, upper story housing is part of that $100 million grant that was announced probably about a month ago now, month and a half. And that is a real opportunity for Independence that we might be able to pursue.
That'd be great.
Can he use that in addition to the other funds he's gotten through grants and awards?
Which, for, no, because of how he laid out his grant program for that Catalyst. This is a new grant, so he will not be able to add on to that, I don't believe.
And the people who are in for the facades and stuff, can they do the apartments, or do they have to wait until the other grant is finished? Or-
Those people that have agreed to do the community development block grant, they are now basically frozen from doing any additional work inside of their building, only an emergency type situation, which even at the state level, they say it doesn't make much sense that they do that, but it comes down from federal level, and they can't seem to change their mind on it. So right now, they really can't do anything until they're say, completely finished or 80% finished.
No, they have to be completely finished
Finished,
with the
that's what I
final
thought.
walkthrough and inspection, work accepted, before they can take on additional work, or they fall under all the requirements of the federal grant, which includes Davis-Bacon wages and SHPO guidelines. It's pretty onerous. You don't want to do that if you don't have to.
Right.
So one of the drawbacks of having 75% of your project paid for is you have to do all of that first. And that has to be documented before you can start other work.
So somebody would be eligible if they weren't involved in one of the facade grants or anything like that.
Right.
So there's still several businesses down there
Yes.
that could,
We've got a couple of targets for the second-story housing grant.
We've been
now.
talking, so.
get.
Thanks.
Does anybody have any other questions of Lisa in regards to economic development?
Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for
Go out
coming
the
tonight.
west side.
Appreciate it.
Help.
Okay, next on the agenda is the request to hunt within the city limits. We have the names of the additional people who will be working with Jarrett Orr.
They don't have the written permission yet to do it?
We have not been given a copy of it. I would suggest that approval of these folks to hunt with Mr. Orr be subject to us receiving that written authorization from Elliott. He knows that we need it, you know, he said he's been trying to catch up with them. I believe that they're both very busy, that's fine, but I think our approval should be contingent on that written authorization.
So can we table this until we get that?
With the hunting season in full swing,
I would think his motivation should be a little higher.
Yeah.
Well, it might not be a motivation issue as much as trying to catch Elliott. But, and it clearly is a council decision. My recommendation is if you approve it subject to us receiving that written authorization. If you want to table it for 2 more weeks. that-
What about insurance? Is Elliott provide us insurance that if there's an incident out there that's covered and we're not liable at all for us approving this?
We have no liability in this because it's not on our property. Well, it is in city limits. It's on private property. That's between Mr. Orr and Mr. Henderson.
I make a motion to table it if they didn't have enough
I'll second.
gump to get out and do it.
Okay, I do have a motion and a second on the floor to table this particular item until next council meeting. Any other discussion?
No discussion on a table.
Oh, okay. Can I get a roll call?
Callahan,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is a hearing in regard to rezoning application. First, I need a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I do have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next, I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Got a harmony
Second.
there, first and second.
Everybody.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are now in public hearing in regards to the rezoning application.
This is for, out here for the house that used to be with the barn.
Rush Park.
That's correct. This is the property that was separated out of the Rush Park mobile home court as a single-family residence. They have a legal description that identifies the parcel that is being rezoned. Appropriately so, it is adjacent to an R2 zone, so it fits in that area. The mobile home park must stay as an R4. That cannot change. The portion of the property that he's rezoning against First Street was a C2. Taking that to an R2, again, is still appropriate, but that particular lot was zoned, had two different zoning designations on it.
The same person owns it all, though, right?
Same person owns the whole thing, but if you were ever to sell the mobile home park and not the house, he can't do that without separating it out. Likewise, he can't sell the house without the mobile home park unless he, separates it out. So this does, it provides to the separation of the two parcels and rezones this one as an R2, which the house would be.
What does that do different for property taxes?
It's still residential. I don't see a change in that either way.
So probably doing his homework so that if he does sell, we don't get the push to do it yesterday.
Correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Then I would like to have a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Next is a motion to consider adopting the ordinance for the first time.
Second.
Do you have a motion and a second? May I have a roll call, please?
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Scharf,
Yes.
Kurtz.
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Callahan. Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. We did put on here in case you wanted to have the option of doing the second and third, but I
Make a
think
motion
he
that we
has
do not do
time to do this, so it will be on the next agenda for the second reading approval.
We can just let it die by now.
Yeah, negative motions are not advised. This is an option. You have to have a motion, second, and 6 out of 7 votes to waive it. If you don't want to waive it, simply no action is sufficient. It is default to the next meeting.
And not hearing any comments or motions, that's what we will do. So that's the last item that was on our agenda. We are down to reports. I want to begin with, as a reminder to the public that our Sunday, October 31st, first is our trick or treat for the city from 5:30 to 7, in case people didn't see it in the newspaper or hear it anywhere else. I also received from the Canadian National Railroad, thank you to be thankful to be your neighbor information from the railroad. If anybody's interested in looking at that, it's here, and you can borrow it for a while if you'd like to check out what our railroad is doing. That's the only thing I have. Does anybody else have something they need to bring up?
For our committee of the whole, I was wondering if we could get on there, working the drug take back on Saturday with Nora. We discussed about the signage in the parks and getting an ordinance that would allow us to put those signs in the park.
We can discuss it. I think the signs are already ordered.
Okay, I kind of thought that too, but this is what she told me in the discussion, so we need an ordinance to kind of back that.
Didn't we do something at the last meeting for that?
Well, there was discussion in the last couple meetings.
Check into that, and if nothing else, make that on the next
The drug
council meeting.
take back, I think we took close to 50 to 60 pounds.
I cleaned my house out and got rid of stuff that was, I couldn't believe the
Yeah, we
dates.
thought it was gonna hurt us being up there, but when they went to Walmart, somebody out there told people to come up there, so we did about the
Yeah.
same.
One thing, John brought it up during the forum, and I had a couple of people ask me if we can't work something out with waste management. Right now, there doesn't seem to be a good way of informing people if they miss pickup or they didn't do the, outside of John walking around in the rain, you know, some kind of phone tree or something, because not everybody has Facebook or looks at it. And,
Yeah, Southwest didn't, part of that didn't get picked up last week.
yeah, apparently the
Recycling.
second time it's
But
happened.
they came back through the next day and got it.
Yeah, but when people were working,
Right.
just like Bob said, how do people know that?
Yeah.
We had a couple of phone calls up here, and notified them, or notified Waste Management, and, you know, Facebook message seems to be the most effective right now. That's where I'm getting most of the notices. If people get missed, Waste Management does have a new driver that's still trying to figure out their route, and there have been issues, and they acknowledge that right up front, and they're working on that, so.
Right.
Go ahead. My suggestion is Waste Management needs to get a published number where people have access.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people have stopped by my house and say, you know, I try to call the Waste Management, and I end up in some other state, you know.
Yeah.
But again, Waste Management has their customer service number, that's the one that they give us. Whether their call center is here at the transfer station or in Mason City, that's Waste Management prerogative. We can't dictate that, but that number is published.
Well, since I've been involved in this a couple of times, the reason they have that is that if you call into that, they guarantee that they will get you resolved by the end of that business day
Correct.
for that customer that calls in.
Never heard of that.
Unless it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon you call, they probably can't get it taken care of. But normally, they try and have it resolved by the end of business day.
Couldn't they
But you
just have
can't
an
give them a whole
answering
list
machine
of addresses.
that says,
It doesn't
you know,
work that
southwest corner, you know, you could call and they could have it here in town, something that, you know, from this block to this block in the southwest, we didn't get, leave it out, we'll get it tomorrow. I mean,
A simple phone number that they answer up there, there's already a phone number, Colette. That's the simplest way to, and make it published.
But somebody's not there 24/7. They
No.
have certain hours, and if they
Why
call
not?
after
Just during
hours, they're
working
not going
hours.
to.
Well, then they could have a recorded message.
yeah, that's
So you
what
can
I-
leave a recorded message at the end of the workday. We're sorry we missed you, the trucks will pick up.
So I have to say, I've tried calling, and sometimes you end up in 2 or 3 states, you know, and you,
Yeah, it's not just Mason City, it's out of
It's a
state.
corporate call center, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing, maybe we could, if we could work something out with Waste Management where if they know they've got an equipment problem or something, get in touch with City Hall and letting us know, and I think he did that last time.
The last time they had an equipment failure, they called me, we got it out there right away,
And-
once we knew about it.
And possibly even through Indytel, that Indytel could put it out too. So we're covering a couple bases because it is difficult when you got people working and everything else. It is hard to make contact with people.
I went around in the sunshine, I didn't have to go around in the rain, but I went around and told people to leave their recycling out for the next day.
Yeah, because I had several people that weren't home. I mean, they were at
Yeah.
work.
And that's what happens even when it's a holiday and people don't realize it's a holiday. And so they're always a day late. And so if people don't get their garbage picked up on the day they're supposed to, if they just leave it out, chances are they're going to get it the next day, the same as they would on a holiday schedule type of thing. So if that information just got out to people to let them know that if it didn't get picked up, leave it out there, it should get it the next day. If not, call City Hall, whatever the case may
There's a
be.
message, have Waste Management advertise what holidays they observe, so we know whether there'll be a day late on the pickup. Because some holidays they do pick up.
It is on their card. that we-
Yeah, it's on the card.
That was just a,
They can get a free copy of that here at City Hall.
Yep.
oh. On the card? Or, oh.
Yes, you may.
what they call an amicus brief. John Klatzbach, 401 3rd Avenue Southwest. Columbus Day was supposed to be a holiday per their website, and they screwed me over on that. I did get garbage, but the recycling. Didn't, and then, but I have used the toll-free last week when they messed up, and you give their 50644, you give them your house address, and they said, okay, and then they had a message saying, oh yeah, we missed you, we'll get you the next day. So it was that night, able to use that number, the toll-free on the website seemed to work.
Good.
Since we have Mr. Crawford here, do you have any updates for any of our construction or work that you're doing that you want to give us? Are we still cutting a ribbon on November 1st?
Yeah, they're scheduled right now as long as the weather continues to hold. The painting is obviously the thing that's most weather dependent, so that the pavement will accept the paint. So we're hoping that within the next 48 hours we'll see paint occur, and then the other major item is the signalized intersection that they were working on today at 3rd Street. So
Are they done pouring all the concrete now?
they've got a little bit of sidewalk ramps to put back, and I think a couple of panels that have cracked that they're going to replace. Aside from that, they're awfully close.
How about our
We want-
other ones? I think somebody texted me, is there an 8th Street Northwest?
Yep, there was some milling that the contractor came back. We've been working with them on some punch list items from that project. So they came back and raised the manholes and got those filled in on 8th. And then there's some milling that they did, and they'll come back in this week to take care of the additional hot mix work, the additional asphalt work.
I wondered about
To get
that.
that.
It's just where it meets Main Street.
Yeah, and then there's one up at the courthouse
Oh.
as well. There was some drainage there that they put a little bit too much hot mix in there, and so the drainage wasn't able to get out as designed. So they came in and milled that out, and they'll put asphalt back, but they won't put it quite as high to allow the drainage to occur in those two. I think we had 2 or 3 locations like that they
Would this be
intended.
by the end of the week then that they should
I think
be
by
all
the
done?
end of the week, yep, they're scheduled to have that buttoned up.
Okay.
Question about those drains, how much stuff's gonna go down those, and branches and leaves and stuff will get on them when the water can't get down? They look like they're way too open.
That the intakes are too open?
That metal drains system they have in there.
Yeah, well, the part of that is, we're trying not to get as much of the sediment and leaves and sticks and stuff like that in as part of the nutrient reduction.
This looks like we're gonna get more, to me.
Any
Okay.
particular location you're talking about?
All the way through there.
All the way through on Highway 150? Yeah, the grates are SUDAS standard specification, and they do trap a fair amount of the leaves and debris that come down, rather than just having that opening in the side. They have an opening that will
So the
actually
city's
accept.
gonna have to go through and clean those out every time we have high rains and debris.
Well, it would be probably part of the leaf cleaning, street sweeper type.
There will always be maintenance on storm drains. If we make them too small, they don't take enough water.
No.
If we make them too big, they accept too much. I'm not sure I can give you a perfect solution. We can put a tighter grate on there, but the tighter grate, then when those leaves and things get there, they don't go in, but they block the water from going in. And, what you see for intakes over there, I don't think are exceptionally large. I've seen some that are larger than that. I don't know if that's a good idea either, but there will be ongoing maintenance. There always will be. There'll be times that we have to go and clean out the intakes.
And they're similar to the ones on 150 are similar to what you see on First Street. Same style of intake, and they're an approved SUDAS and DOT application, so.
Did we figure out why that one intersection flooded so bad in the last rain?
The contractor does have a little bit of work that they're going to take care of there. They're going to re-pour that insert, and they're going to actually knock that out, lower that intake so that it takes water more adequately. So that's a correction that they've made, or that they're making. That is at the northeast quadrant of 7th Street and 5th Avenue Northeast.
So even if we open it up for transportation, open that corner, there may still be some punch list stuff that they'll have to do, but still we'll be able to use it for traffic?
The goal is to have that punch list stuff taken care of this week,
Okay.
so that when it's open, there isn't anything remaining.
Because I think we're supposed to get some rain a couple of days this week, but how much, I don't know.
Yeah, the nice thing about that project is it's pretty much all concrete. I think they'll have most of the concrete done. So if they have to replace one panel, that's not real weather dependent, if
Okay.
they get that done, so.
Have they seeded most of that or not?
The seeding has not been completed yet, so that seeding will probably take place yet this week as well. And it'll probably be temporary seeding. We'll see what comes up because we are outside of the DOT's approved seeding window. But we do have temporary seeding, and of course, the contractor will be back next year to tackle the second half. So in the spring, they could seed whatever seed does not come up or doesn't germinate.
We get hard rain, we got a lot of dirt up there.
Yeah, the temporary seeding should take care of the erosion control as well as the other erosion control measures that are in place out there. The silt fence and the socks that they've left in place.
Hey, one other question I had too. Two people confronted me after being down to Allerton on Saturday for the events that went on. And when they got out of their car right in front of Allerton, there's two probably water shutoffs, and one is down so far. And they said, it's just somebody's going to get their shoe heel caught in there or something, and it's going to be a fall issue. Is there a way they could put a cap on that to level that off?
I can work with the water department if I know you said there's two of them and they're in front of
I think
the
there's two,
Allerton?
and it sounds like one isn't too bad, but the other one is the worst. I didn't check it out. I just was told about it, since Saturday. But
Right in front of the Allerton building?
yeah, they said when they got out to go to Allerton, they were right there. And
Yeah, I'll look at those with Todd and see what can be done. And the water department, of course, Travis and Todd, we can look at those.
all right, thanks, Brian.
You bet.
How about Sixth Avenue
6th Avenue.
Trail?
Oh, sorry, 6th Avenue Southwest. They did set the box culvert. We've got paving going on tomorrow too at Enterprise Drive, but they did set the box culvert. We did meet with the contractor this morning on the 6th Avenue Southwest. That's Boomerang. It was a little too wet to work today.
Too much standing water in there.
Yep, but they are intending to be here tomorrow to continue with grading and a little bit of storm sewer that remains, and then you'll see them start side dumping rock in preparation for the paving.
Nice.
What's the date for that to be finished?
That's scheduled to be finished November 1st, and so I know the contractor schedule is going to be pretty tight to get that one done without penalty, so.
But that's, if there's a rain days, that gives him an extra day and that type of thing.
Well,
November
actually, on
1st 's the date, but
on a completion date contract, the extra days would be solely at the discretion of the council if they wanted to allow
It should have worked
an
Saturday.
extension. Yep. I know you guys have been by there an awful lot, and sometimes you see the contractor there working, and sometimes you don't, so. They've assured us that they're going to make their best effort to get in here this week and get as much done as they possibly can. We told them we'd like to see substantial completion, as close to that completion date as they can. There'll certainly be some seeding that remains, and I think there's also a change request that'll be coming for the fence at the north end of that project. That'll be a topic of discussion at the Public Works and Committee of the Whole next week.
Is that property owner pretty happy then?
Al probably has more information on it.
No,
no matter what.
Liking about it.
Brian, one other question on the 150. Well, when they do the seeding, is that going to be hydro seeding, or are they just going to seed it?
They're not required to hydroseed, but they did hydroseed the first piece.
Because
And
the
that,
first piece looked like it took pretty good.
yes, and that hydroseeding, that will also fulfill the erosion control measure. So I guess we anticipate that that's what they'll do, but again, they're not required to do that. But I think that'll be their simplest solution. Certainly if it was me doing it, I would hydroseed it, because then you don't have to maintain the sediment control devices throughout the winter, so. I think that's what you'll see.
I think with Mr. Studer, he's not, he would prefer not to have the project, but he's worked with us. I mean,
He
it's
has.
been a slow process, and he, like anybody, it's, you know, he's worked with us, and I don't think he delayed the project at all, just had a lot of questions, so, you know.
The change order that you're going to see has to do with the type of fencing. He asked for a privacy fence to get it approved for a portion of it, but not all of it. I think 90 feet, is that what you said?
Yep, roughly 90 feet of it.
Of privacy fence coming from the south up to just past the front of his house. That is more expensive than the coated chain link, but we agreed that we would put it in for him once we understood what he wanted. It just took us a long time to understand what his request was for that.
And he was cooperative and almost enthusiastic last year when you and I stopped down there.
I agree. But, and again, I think some things may have changed in his mind, or he saw things differently as we went on. It's fine, we've worked through it. I think we've come to an agreement on what that can look like. The retaining wall does take a portion of his property, and we've adjusted that for him. So at the end of the day, I think he's going to really like what he has, but the one thing that we were not able to change, and I recommend strongly that we not, at the top of the wall where the fence sits, he had asked for river rock instead of concrete. The trouble with putting river rock up there is we have ongoing maintenance, we have rock coming off the wall onto the trail. The concrete up there will provide a maintenance-free terrace where that fence will sit. And so that's the one thing that we have not modified, and I don't think we should. Again, I don't want that river rock coming down onto the trail, and again, that ongoing maintenance with that, so.
So
But,
everything behind the wall will be concrete?
18 inches, I think, is what it is.
Yeah, it'll go just beyond where the fence is, essentially to stabilize that top. And it'll also help to reinforce the posts for the fence, so.
The wall looks nice.
It was very nice.
I agree. I think it looks very nice, and as Al said, nothing related to Mr. Studer's property has delayed the contractor at all in completing their work. And they've reported that Mr. Studer has been excellent to work with as they've completed their work, so.
The one other item on that change that I think you're going to see is we had to change the material behind the wall because there was so much sand in there, we had to put rock in. So that did change that as well, but it's going to make for a better product.
And it was a dramatic change for him up there. I think once the whole thing started, I'd be shocked too when I
Yeah.
saw
Where's my
so,
yard?
yeah.
Well,
So
always-
I think he's been cooperative considering,
It always looks a little
Shock.
rough during the construction process. The construction process is never pretty, but the end result, I think, will be, so.
yeah.
So hopefully we'll see a little concrete on there this week?
We're sure hoping so. Yep. And certainly the rock, they'll get the rock down, and as soon as they can get here to get the concrete in, they've assured us that they're going to do their best, so.
Now, will the trail butt right up against the street?
No, there's a 5-foot separation between the trail and
Oh, that's
the edge of the road, and that's a safety standard that we abide by. Any additional questions on projects?
Anybody, any other council people have anything?
If I can say
Chief,
something,
I'm
I
sorry.
just want to congratulate all of our junior, senior high students, all of our teams and our athletes and the band, between the band and the football team and the volleyball team. They're all just having excellent seasons, and playoff game for the volleyball tomorrow night, and then a playoff game for the football team on Friday night. And I just want to throw a congratulations out there to them. The young people are doing well.
Are both of those games out of town? Neither one's here, are they?
The volleyball game is down in Cedar Rapids in Washington High School against Assumption, and then the football game is this Friday at Benton.
Okay.
Couldn't they have found another field that had more wide open wind tunnel? That
Anybody
is
interested in
the
going,
coldest place you can go to.
you have to buy your tickets online before you go, so seek that through the school or through the school's Facebook page or website, so.
Chief, do you have anything you'd like to add tonight, since you're here?
I'd just give you an update after 3 weeks and 1 day. I'm finally starting to catch on. Meeting with a lot of the stakeholders in the community, and it's been wonderful. All of my officers are doing great work. I've had a chance to watch and view in many different situations what they've been doing on a day in and day out basis. I've met with almost all of them, but the only one I haven't met with personally has been Officer Flack, who just graduated from the Law Enforcement Academy on Friday, and he started his FTO with us this week, so he's in good hands. Other than that, I appreciate all. I've had some questions from council members who've called me. Al has done a great job in helping to guide me through this process, and then also the citizens of Independence for all their greetings and heartfelt wishes of good luck to me in this job.
And you're now the chairman of the Substance Abuse Coalition? You got that your first meeting you did?
Yeah, I got chairman of the Substance Abuse Coalition. I'm now on the board of directors of the Iowa Peace Officers Association, and I think there's a couple of others out there that are waiting in the wings for me, but we'll take that all in stride.
Good.
Did you have meetings that you didn't show up for?
No, I actually showed up.
He was at them. He volunteered for that one or agreed to
I'll tell
it.
you, the Substance Abuse Coalition, somebody had that one planned for me, I think. He is in this room, but I won't say his name.
Well, it's a he, so that,
Other than that, I think for our department to be involved in things and to be on boards and things like that for the Substance Abuse Coalition is good, to give us a voice in those and also to help us to integrate with our community partners, I think is a very good thing. So sometimes we look at it as just one extra thing, but I think it's going to be good for our department all along. And I want to get my officers more involved in those sort of things as we go along too. But we're still in my first 100 days, so we're not pushing things too much on anybody right now.
very good.
Have you had any contacts about the band shelter block down there with problems in the evening?
None. Now, we did have a couple of officers who were going down there, and they were looking at the street, like First Avenue down there, and that as far as the parking goes there. And we've talked about the fact that it's still a public thoroughfare. It's still a place, as long as they're not in the park now. And this started before I came on, Deb, but
I wasn't talking about parking. I don't know what.
Well, it was, the officers felt that was an integral thing with the problems that have been going on in the park. So we talked to them about that, and as far as that goes, they've been giving extra patrol in that area to make sure there's not ongoing issues in that park. But also, because we have a walking trail through there, I want to make sure that we're not misidentifying people that are using that walking trail that runs all the way through Teachers and Riverwalks Parks later at night, because people who get off at 11 o'clock surely
This
should.
is more targeted, I guess, at the band shelter and
No,
maybe the
band sh-
midnight mark or something.
Yeah, I know there's.
I
been-
asked the person to contact you directly.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had any contact from anyone directly, but I know that there's been some contact prior to my coming on. So it's already a situation that I'm aware of and our offices have been working
I
at.
didn't know it was a real issue down there at night, so.
Yeah, and we always want to make sure our citizens enjoy the park from 8 to 80, I guess, and so we'll try and do the best we can for them.
I was asked about that here recently, and the person that told me that there is lights down there, and wondered why those lights aren't turned on, because they face away from the houses, so they're not facing the backyards of those houses, and maybe one of the things is that turn those lights on, and therefore, maybe they can be seen a little more, so then maybe they don't want to hang out there.
Is there a turn on, turn off
Well,
down
I
there?
know, like, when we run an event down there, there's those two big poles that have lights on top, and at the end of the night, we turn those on, and that lights up that whole park.
Because I was thinking maybe that.
And those are
person-
on a dusk to dawn timer.
I was
So
thinking
they
the
can-
person down there maybe wanted them off, so they would,
No,
I don't know, like I
they're-
said, for.
They're under
contact.
lock and key, so you have to
Oh.
have the key to open it up and turn them on, and then lock it back up. So if we turned it on, and it's on a dawn to dusk timer, they'll turn on at nighttime, then you have the whole park lit up, and then in the morning, they're off, and that hopefully will, deter some of the kids from hanging out, or whoever's hanging out down there, from hanging out, because it's lit up, so
You know, the hours I ride around down in there, they're just sitting down there. They don't, it's daylight, they don't appear to be doing anything that's,
I mean, during park hours, it's probably all right, but it's just, when they're down there after 10, 11 o'clock, midnight, so.
Do we have a curfew in this town?
yes.
Yeah.
What's the curfew?
The curfew is, I believe, 10 o'clock on weekdays and midnight on weekends, or 1 o'clock, if I remember right. And we changed that some years back, probably 15 years ago, because originally it was immediate enforcement, and then we kind of changed it to where it was a warning and that type of thing at first. Curfews will work if the enforcement works when the parents back it up too. And so part of the problem you have is you can have all the rules and regulations you want, but unless we have parental involvement to help out and make sure that after they've been told that the curfew's out, and then you're gonna have some that it isn't gonna matter, so.
Yeah, okay,
But there's a fine for it.
thank you.
As a juvenile, that would go through the juvenile court system. So usually what they'd end up with is a modified, where they would have to do either community service and or just probation or something like that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.
Fire Department, have anything you'd like to add? Okay, thank you. City Clerk, have anything?
Just a reminder to please bring in your code books if you haven't done so already, so I can get those updated.
No city attorney tonight?
Nope.
To save money, since we didn't have that long of an agenda, we thought instead of him coming, we'd save those dollars. So we spent enough of them for the attorney's fees, so any place we could cut, we do. City Manager, you have anything to add?
Very briefly, I think I put it in my Friday update. We are working with the Fair Board on a potential IDOLS grant for stormwater nutrient reduction program. There's some grant money through the state available there. A little early, we have until December 3rd to put a pre-application together if there's a potential project. We also have the ISU fiscal condition webinar on Friday from noon to 2. If you're interested, we can host it down here at City Hall and put it up on the screen, but it's $20 a person to register. I think it's worthwhile. I know that you all have a copy of that report, but this goes into a little bit more depth. It talks about some of the legislative changes and what have you, so if you're interested, let me know. And
That's a week from this Friday?
no,
Oh, this
this
Friday.
Friday,
This Friday.
Noon to 2?
noon to 2.
Can that be taped to watch later or not, Al?
I did send that to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because ISU is putting it on, it's kind of their program, but I think it looks interesting. They haven't done it in the past that I'm aware of, but we'll take a look at this, and it's not that expensive for something that has some merit. And they do some benchmarking with other Iowa communities of comparable size as well.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay, if there is nothing else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Do have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.